Full and uncut versions available on Patreon. Check in the description below. Greetings once again, Pokemaniacs. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with more of the Pokemon Adventures manga, the Yellow arc, where Yellow has been training with Blue in order to learn what she needs in order to protect more Pokemon and hopefully be of assistance in finding and saving Red, who has disappeared after being defeated by Bruno of the Elite Four. After learning how to capture Pokemon, as well as showing that she has her own way of doing things that Blue does acknowledge to some degree, Yellow decides to go off on her own, not wanting to rely on Blue, but understand how to be a trainer in her own right by her own means. Doing so, she comes aboard the SS Anne and is ambushed by Team Rocket, who sink the ship. While they do arrive at their destination, she shows off her new abilities and skills, managing to defeat the elite trio of Rocket Grunt. Meanwhile, Green goes to Bill's house in order to access the Pokemon transfer system to see if Red maybe tried to transfer out a Pokemon since Pikachu had gone off, seeing that he did indeed do so, getting his Eevee. Before they're able to access Red's location, they're ambushed by Bruno, while Bruno's Hitmonlee. As Hitmonlee escapes, Bill and Green give chase, while still keeping tabs on Yellow, with Green being the one who had sent the young girl off in order to find Red. With so many moving parts, it's a question of what will happen next. What moves will the Elite Four do? And now that Lance is also on the move, who will encounter what member first? Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright, we pick back up in the Vermilion Harbor, where Yellow is still just out there fishing with the sunken SS Anne still off the coast. Yellow talks to her Pokemon, saying, the sea. How am I supposed to cross that, I wonder? The SS Anne was destroyed, and my one water Pokemon is my Omni, who doesn't know how to surf yet. Can cross the ocean carrying a person anyway. So I thought I'd look for another water Pokemon, but no luck. Nothing but Tentacool around here. If only that Tentacruel would help you out. Strike one, strike two. Well, no use sitting and sighing. The only way to cross the ocean is to get a water Pokemon. So tomorrow we're going to a different shore to find ourselves one. Alright, she has 6 Pokemon. Is she gonna have to trade one out? The first time in my life I'm having trouble sleeping. Hey Pika, wanna practice some attack? She looks at the Pokedex saying, as of now the attacks Pika knows are, and they practice on a dummy saying, okay, Thunderbolt, Flash, Thunder Wave. This one's got the trickiest timing, Substitute. It takes a double use of health too. Here we go, Pika. Substitute. And Pika does just that. You did it. Now I just have to practice giving commands to both of you at once, and suddenly there's a cry for help from the ocean. Yellow turns saying, what was that? There's a man on top of a slowpoke flailing around on a massive wave screaming help. Yellow says, Pika, watch out, as the wave comes right towards Pika and its duplicate. As the wave hits, the duplicate disappears, with Yellow saying, oh no, the Pika double. The man, though, hits the beach hard. He screams out in pain. As Yellow goes, oops, are you okay? As she comes over, she says, looks like a broken leg. Kitty. And Caterpie spins a string cast for the man. The man says, oh, many thanks. Yes, saved my life, you did. Ow. Yellow says, what are you doing out there in the middle of the night? The man says, practicing for this I was. A surfing contest? As the man shows Yellow the pamphlet saying, contest monster waves, Vermilion City. The man says, oh yes, call me the swimmer, they do. Taken part I have in, many contests all over the region. I live for competition, I do. Last little touches, that's what we made for tomorrow. When suddenly came the huge wave it did. But no hope now, no. And even to the qualifying rounds I got. I love his way of speaking. Yellow continues to look at the pamphlet and reads that the grand prize is a Dragonair. The winner will receive this previously trained Dragonair, perfect for long-distance ocean crossing. And Yellow thinks of the possibility, saying, wow, a Dragonair. The man says, oh yes, the competition you should enter, yes? We'll lend you my Slowpoke, I will. Yellow says, really? Are you sure? The man says, for your help, the least I could do. It is? Yellow turns to Pikachu saying, let's do it. Meanwhile, we cut back over to the forest with Green and Bill, still chasing after the Hitmonlee. Green says, dawn is coming. It's light enough to go in for the kill, with Bill saying, but Blastoise isn't supposed to be a flying Pokemon. How much longer is this water blast gonna last? Green says, based on how far we've flown, I say, oh, another minute. Bill says, another what? Green says, that's why we've got to fight now. Final blast. And Blastoise pours it on even more. Gotta love how it can fly ass first. Bill screams in terror. Green saying, we're not just chasing a shadow in the dark now. It'll never get away. But just then, Hitmonlee turns, extends both its arms and legs onto nearby trees, creating a bit of a barrier. Bill cries out as Blastoise hits Hitmonlee. Oh, I was gonna say head on, but butt to head. And Hitmonlee springs Blastoise back, knocking all three of them away into the ground. Although Blastoise is flung a little bit further off. Green says, so much for Dawn's early light tactic. Hey, where's Blastoise? Bill says, Green, up there. It's going head to head with Hitmonlee. As we see on a nearby cliff, Blastoise is taking on Hitmonlee. Green pauses as Bill says, hurry up and give it a command. What are you doing? Green says, shh. Just keep your eye on that Hitmonlee. Bill turns and shouts as he says, it's in a fighting stance. Oh, Green says, it's in a fighting stance, but is also trying to find us, as she sees Hitmonlee quickly looking around, but still ready to fight. Green says, they're here. Bill questions who? Green says Hitmonlee's trainer. It wouldn't do that unless his trainer was nearby. If I start shouting commands to Blastoise now, they'll know just where I am. Our best bet is to keep nice and quiet. Bill, seeing Blastoise also look around frantically, says, but your Blastoise is waiting for a command. Green then pulls out a microphone, one that fits around her neck, saying, not sure if this will work, but here goes. It sends a command to a distant Pokemon by tapping sound waves in a bubble-like barrier. Bill says, you can do that? Green mumbles into the mic, and a bubble comes wafting out towards Blastoise. Bill says, come on, get there. We then cut back to Vermilion Harbor, where the contest is underway. The announcer says, welcome back, everyone. The Vermilion Beach Monster Wave Riding Contest. Every year, wave riders from all over the region gather here. To the grand prize winner, perfect for long trips across the sea, a Pokemon that any surfer would weep for the chance to own. As he gestures to Dragonair, the crowd oohs and ahs. The announcer then says, and now for the opening ceremonies. We see the man from before on crutches, thinking, surfing for me you are. And Yellow on Slowpoke says, thinks to herself, I got to win it. And the announcer then says, we begin with a demonstration of Dragonair's wave riding abilities. But suddenly, something catches Dragonair's attention. The announcer says, just a moment, something seems wrong. And suddenly Dragonair creates a massive whirlpool that sucks in the contestant. Yellow, holding onto a buoy with Slowpoke, says, what's happening? But as she gazes up, she sees a mischievous glint in Dragonair's eyes, as now there's a man standing atop Dragonair, and that man is Lance. As the whirlpool strengthens, the crowd looks on in shock as the announcer says, what? The announcer says, what? What in the world is happening? A whirlpool has appeared around Dragonair, and it's pulling the contestants down. Wait, on top of Dragonair's head, who is that? And Lance gazes down indifferently, saying, that's my business. Whoa. In Chapter 61, Breath of the Dragonair, Part 2, Lance has Dragonair unleash what looks like a hyper beam that zigzags into the city, creating a massive bit of destruction as the waves continue to rock. Lance says, hyper beam. Jeez, ain't no coming back from that. He destroyed part of the city. As Yellow and some of the swimmers hit the beach and hard, Yellow hawks up sand and water and shouts, no, Vermilion City. Lance says, where are you? Come out. Yellow, holding Slowpoke, thinks he's Looking for someone? Lance turns away saying, moved on already, hmm? Ah well, let's go, Dragonair. Lance takes off with the Dragonair, and Yellow readies herself, bringing out Doduo saying, can I make it, as she mounts it. The man from before hobbles over saying, Yellow, what's it you're doing? Yellow says, Mr. Swimmer, I'm going after him with Doduo's speed. We'll try to keep up with him as long as we can along the coastline. The man says, wait, what? Yellow hands over Slowpoke saying, I'm giving this one back to you. I can't take the chance of letting one of your friends get injured. The swimmer says, but Pokemon that can serve you don't have. Run after him and him you can, but Dragonair sees the destruction to Vermilion City and then takes off saying, with the swimmer saying, fighting something like that? No, no, no. Yellow calls back. I'm being followed by some kind of enemy. If he was one of those enemies, and that's why the city was destroyed, then it is my duty. Swimmer calls out to Yellow one more time as we cut back to Blastoise taking on Hitmonlee. Blastoise seems to be out of water because of all that use of Hydro Pump. As Bill says to Green, ain't a drop. Blastoise used all its water up flying here. It's got no way to attack. Green says, why do you think I'm sending out command bubbles like this? And Green thinks, come on, get there. But as the bubble makes its way to Blastoise, Hitmonlee spots it and immediately pops it. As Green thinks, no. Bill says, they saw through that too. Hitmonlee then extends his arms towards Blastoise as Bill says, it's going to get caught. As Hitmonlee wraps up Blastoise, but Green smiles saying, yeah, that's it. And Blastoise starts sending out a huge barrage of bubbles. Green says, bubble attack. A forest of bubbles to hide the command bubble. What do you do, Hitmonlee? And now the real one can get to Blastoise. As the command bubble hits Blastoise, it reads something attack now. Oh, what? Blastoise releases the cannon on its back, and since Hitmonlee is holding Blastoise over its head, Hitmonlee is whacked by the cannon, causing it to get dizzy and fall off the cliff. Reed saying to Bill, the cannon on its back isn't just for water blasts. It's a little attack Blastoise and I made up ourselves. You can do that? Now we gotta go. Yellow's in danger. Bill says, how do you know that? Green says, duh. Couldn't you tell that Hitmonlee's whole purpose was just to keep us occupied? Why else didn't it attack even when Blastoise were getting no commands and had no idea what to do? That's actually a good point. I was kind of waiting for that. Bill says, you mean this was a decoy? Green says, yep, and we fell for it. Since there's no follow-up attack, Hitmonlee and his trainer have probably left, meaning they kept us occupied long enough. Bill says, and you think the enemy knows you're helping Yellow along? Green tells them, so this decoy means someone else has gotten to Yellow. Let's move. We then cut back to Yellow making her way along the beach on Doduo, tracking Lance on the Dragonair. Yellow saying, yeah, if we just keep running along the shore, we'll lose sight of them. Yellow then brings out Caterpie, who ties some string to Pikachu's tail. Yellow says, we're counting on you, Pika. And Doduo reels back with his hind legs up. Pika is set on the legs, and Yellow says 1, 2, and Pikachu readies himself as Yellow says 3, and Pikachu is launched towards Dragonair, managing to grapple onto it. Lance turns saying, what are you doing here? As we see that it's not just Pikachu who's on Dragonair, but Yellow clinging to Pikachu's tail string with a little string-made boat, but Lance, having grabbed up Pikachu, has Dragonair lean him down towards Yellow. Lance looks like a short king. I'm used to him being so imposing in most games, but he looks like a little kid. Lance says, why have you followed me? Tossing Pikachu at Yellow. Yellow says, why did you destroy the city? Lance turns away saying, I was looking for something, and the buildings were blocking my view. Pity it was a wasted effort. Jeez. This is not the Lance I'm used to. Yellow says, just for that, countless people in Pokemon. Lance says, they didn't die. The surfing contest is quite the event for Vermilion City. The city should have been empty. I mean, you say should have, but what if there was still people there? Like, James, dude. And I'm glad you took that into account, but jeez. I guess this is to keep Lance from being a completely irredeemable monster. And at least destroying just one building that he knew was empty would have sufficed. Yellow is shocked, saying, "What?" Lance says, "Well, a trainer or two might have bit the dust, but..." Okay, yeah, there it is. Lance then gives Yellow a stone cold look, saying, "And of course, since you followed me, you'll get hurt too." And he has Dragonair lunge at Yellow and wrap Yellow up in a bind attack, I guess? Yellow says, "I knew Team Rocket used Pokemon for evil, but I've never heard of anything like this." Lance says, "Evil? Well, is that what I was doing? I had no idea." But look at it from a Pokemon's perspective. Would you want to be kept as a pet in some suffocating little city like that? Yellow says, human good and Pokemon good are... Oh, no. That's Lance saying, human good and Pokemon good are diametrically opposed. All humans on Earth except for elite trainers must be destroyed. That is the mission of Lance of the Elite Four. Okay, so he's on that ghetto stuff. Only the elite must reign supreme. As Dragonair continues to put the squeeze on Yellow, Pikachu tries to assist as Lance just laughs and laughs as Yellow struggles. Alright, Yellow continues to struggle but suddenly notices, saying, "We're floating." Lance says, "Of course, Dragonair can skim the skies just like the seas, and it is my gift to control the power of the dragon." In Chapter 62, Breath of the Dragonair, Part 3. Man, that's a lot of parts. Suddenly, Dragonair lights up, and rain starts to fall from the sky. Yellow says, "The thunder and lightning, did the Dragonair cause those?" Lance says, "Do you see the power I wield? Even the sky obeys my every whim. The Elite Four and our allied trainers are all the humans the world needs." Dang, dude. Wait, allied trainers? Who's allied with them? We've only seen the Elite Four so far. Well, that and Super Nerd Miles. Pikachu gets angry and climbs up Dragonair's tail, rushing towards Lance. But Dragonair uses Hyper Beam again, cutting off Pikachu's run. And as Pikachu sees the zigzagging beam, Lance says, "The Dragonair's Hyper Beam can flash in every direction," which that's not how that should work. "No matter how quickly you scamper around, you're simple to catch." As Pikachu is hit from behind by the Hyper Beam, Pikachu, injured, falls into the water. Lance says, "I held back. It won't die." We keep trying our best to make him, not terrible, too terrible. Terrible enough. But then Lance notices something, saying, "That scar." So that's it. The Pikachu with the scar on one ear. So you were the one Lorelei and Agatha were after. Lorelei is such a perfectionist. She couldn't live with the knowledge that this Pikachu had escaped her. And then you two did the same to poor Agatha. You're the one called Yellow Caballero, which is such a weird thing. Yellow Caballero. Lance and Yellow lock eyes as Lance turns his attention to Pikachu, having Dragonair wrap it up, leaving Yellow. Lance says, "They'll both be very happy if I deliver this Pikachu to them. Though I really couldn't care less." Then why do it? Yellow is left waiting in the water as Lance and Dragonair make off with Pikachu as Lance laughs. Yellow says, "No, Pika, no." Yellow thinks Pika's body is stuck. Pika's body. That's it. Our new attack. Yellow calls out, "Pika, substitute." And Pikachu sends out a double. Yellow cries out, "Attack!" And the double charges towards Lance, using, flash or something? It's hard to tell. That just barely misses Lance, though we do see a cut on his cheek, which enrages Lance, who says, "I told you I was holding back, didn't I? If you want to be food for the Magikarp that badly, then Dragon Rage." And Dragonair uses Dragon Rage on both Pikachu, the substitute, as well as Yellow. They're all dropped into the water. As Lance turns, saying, "Fool." Yellow, still waiting in the water, says, "This can't happen. If I lose now, other cities will be destroyed too." As Yellow sinks into the water, she thinks, "My strength fading fast, but while I can still move, I have to help Pika." She spots Pika and the double, saying, "There they are," and Pika and its double. The water around the double is being repelled somehow. That's right. The last time we tried this, the waves parted around Pika's double. Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that before. Maybe Pika's health, when it's outside Pika's physical body, repels. Pikachu regains consciousness just as Yellow starts to lose it, and Pikachu turns as the double starts to dissipate? Oh, what the hell? As Lance is making his way on Dragonair, he says, I sense someone coming. Are they still following me? Well, even if they are, they have no means to attack me. And suddenly, Yellow rises from the water, surfing on the waves. Lance saying, no, it's impossible. That's it, surf, Yellow says, as Pikachu is on its board. Oh my god. Yep, okay, Pikachu can, there's special Pikachus who can learn surf. Oh, I forgot about the surfing Pikachu in terms of actual abilities. It's only special Pikachus that can learn surf. Oh, that is so wild. Yeah, that doesn't happen until, what was it? Sword and Shield, yeah. I remember that. I think I got the surfing Pikachu. And oddly enough, despite the fact that the Alolan Raichu appears in Sun and Moon and is, representative of the surfing Pikachu, it doesn't learn surf until later. That is absolutely wild. We actually made it canon. You told me this was happening. I don't know if I'd have believed it. It's used the double in order to make a board. That's wild. Lance says, Pika's projected power makes a great water-propelling surfboard. Yellow says, ha, take that. Thunderbolt! And Pikachu unleashes a Thunderbolt on Lance and Dragonair. As Lance is hit by the blast that causes a massive explosion, Yellow and Pikachu slide coolly on the waves. That's awesome. Lance seems to be gone, as there's nothing that seems to remain. As Yellow huffs and puffs, say they're gone. A trainer who loves Pokemon, dreaming of destroying mankind for their sake. Yellow pets Pikachu, saying, what do you guys think? Could you really have better lives if we were gone? Pikachu seems to kind of question this, as Yellow thinks, but if you care for them and with a kind and gentle heart, then they'll always be your friends. Yellow says, friends. Pikachu says, chew. Yellow says, yes, forever. Let's get going to the city at the other end of the sea. And Pikachu uses surf to get Yellow across the waves. Man, they really wanted that surfing Pikachu, baby. I can't say I'm mad at it. Oh, but suddenly Yellow loses her balance a little bit, saying, good thing I saw Blue surf. Come on, let's go. And then she managed to right herself and take off. But in the waters where Lance fell, bubbles start to form. Alright, we pick up with Pidgeot arriving at Professor Oak's laboratory, tapping on the glass. Oak says, oh, thank you, Pidgeot. And as Oak reads the letter from Blue, the last part reads, the Elite Four HQ has pinpointed I'm going at location which starts the island. We then cut back to where Yellow is, where we see a Farfetch flying, but suddenly drops from the sky. Yellow and Pikachu, once again fishing. Yellow calls out, oh no, Pika! And Pika jumps in the air and summons its surfboard. In Chapter 63, extricated from Executor? I say words so good. Don't you see how good I am with words? As Pikachu uses surf, Yellow brandishes her fishing rod yet again. The golden parallels. They race off and manage to catch the Farfetch. Yellow asks it, are you alright? Yellow and Pikachu bring the Farfetch to the shore. But as Yellow looks after it, she says, you're hurt. Wait just a sec, I'll help you. And she uses her abilities to heal the Farfetch'd wing. Yellow then asks, what happened? The Farfetch tries to communicate. Yellow says, you suddenly couldn't figure out how to find your own nest? And you got hurt because the forest attacked you. Oh, I know what this is. In a very odd-looking forest. Yellow says, yeah, it would be easy to get lost in this forest. Pika, this Farfetch says that the forest changes every time it comes through. So how do we not get lost too while we're looking for its nest? Yellow brings out Caterpie saying, got it, Caterpie. We'll just do this. And she ties Caterpie's string to a nearby tree, sets Caterpie on her hat, and she tells the Farfetch, first, let's travel straight from here. As they make their way, with Caterpie still releasing the string, suddenly Yellow comes across the string right in her path, saying, this is Caterpie's thread. That's strange. We should have been going in a straight line. As Yellow looks around, she says, we've been walking in circles. We're lost. As we see the string is all around them now. Suddenly, as the trees start to rustle and shift, Yellow says, something's wrong. Pika, be careful. But suddenly, something approaches her from behind. Yellow says, Pika, thunder shock, and she shocks the object. Suddenly, there's a barrage of these items, too. As Caterpie, Pikachu, and Farfetch do their best to defend themselves, Yellow says, shoot, these fruit just keep coming, and they don't stop coming. They head to the ground when they hit the rounds run. Yeah, I shouldn't try to sing that. But suddenly, the trees uproot themselves. They have feet. Yellow says, what now? We have to get out of this place now. He brings out Doduo, saying, Dodie, hurry, take us out of the forest. And Doduo races them all out as the trees continue to try to barrage them with their fruit. Yellow says, yeah, we're clear. Now let's go where we can see more Oh, and she pauses as they come to a cliff. As she sees a shocking sight, seeing the forest, it's moving. No, that's not it. What we thought was a forest is really a mass of Executor and Oddish. As we see them all moving in a massive herd, Yellow and her Pokemon watch from the cliffside. Suddenly, Yellow is shocked as a laptop pops out of nowhere with Oak saying, Yellow, it takes a catastrophe like this to get you to contact me? Yellow says, but I was told our transmissions might be intercepted. Oak says, doesn't matter. So, a mass migration of Executor and Oddish, you say, which would explain why the Farfetch'd kept getting lost. But it doesn't explain why the migration in the first place. It's not breeding season. Maybe. Yellow says, maybe. Oak turns saying, some wild Pokemon are very sensitive to the approach of natural disasters, earthquakes, tornadoes, or even an unnatural event of comparable power. Yeah, that kind of lines up with the second Pokemon movie 2000, where you had all those Pokemon reacting to the shifting of nature because of the capturing of Articuno, Moltres, and Zapdos, which, and if that was the case, Team Rocket would have caused a whole bunch of natural disasters. We then cut to Cersei Island, where we see Lance walking through a cavern, talking to Lorelei and Agatha, saying the Pokemon are becoming more restless, sensing that Lance is about to make his move. We'll meet again soon, Yellow. Your life will be your own, but only until that day. As we see his various Pokemon, what looks like 2 Dragonair, an Aerodactyl, a Dragonite, and a Gyarados. As Farfetch makes a new nest out of nothing but leeks. Jeez. Yellow says, what used to be a forest of Pokemon is now completely bare. So you lost the forest that you used to house your nest. But at least now you were able to find your nest. Huh? Well, I guess it would be, at least now we're able to find your nest. Okay. That's how you should read it. Farfetch joyfully squawks at her, and Yellow says, you don't have to thank me again. I had fun too. Yellow then looks to the sky thinking, the professor was talking about some kind of natural disaster or some other incredible force. Could something be about to happen here? Oh, we cut back to Professor Oak's laboratory where we see his granddaughter Daisy come up saying, Professor, I've assembled all the necessary tech. Oak says, thanks. I'm so glad you're here. You're such a great help. It will only get better. Daisy says, it's no problem, I'm honored, Professor Oak, grandfather. She then looks to the monitor with info on Yellow saying, he is a very interesting child, isn't he? Oak says, more interesting than you know. Trying to find Red, this child battles the Elite Four. He surpasses even gym leaders in power. Is that admirable or absurd? Daisy says, I understand what you're saying, but I think he can do it. What is his name? Oak says, we've been calling this trainer who can read the thoughts and heal the injuries of Pokemon Yellow. I must say, I'm starting to want to believe in this kid too. As we see Yellow taking off, waving farewell to the Farfetch. We pick up with Yellow having Pikachu use Surf in Chapter 64, putting it on the line against Arcanine. Nice. As they near Cinnabar Island, Yellow says, Pika, we've reached the next island. As she reaches the land, Yellow says, a volcano. It's magnificent. Do you suppose it's active? A voice calls out, nope. That volcano has been dormant for decades. Welcome to Cinnabar Island. I'm what you call a junior trainer. the young boy with his haunter says. Yellow thinks, Cinnabar Island. That is where Blaine has his gym and research lab, which means I think that won't find any clues to finding Red. Blaine must have searched his own island thoroughly. She then asks, what should we do, Pika? The junior trainer looks around and brings up a rock saying, this one looks good. This one too. This one? No. Yellow asks, what are you doing? The junior trainer says, Oh, a friend of mine asked me to help him train for a Pokemon battle. Yellow says, training? The junior trainer brings Yellow over to a weird suspension bridge overlooking a ravine, saying, yep, here's where we do it. Yellow says, what? The junior trainer points, saying, and that is the guy who's doing it. The guy looks kind of familiar. Do I know this guy? Yeah, isn't that the other way Blaine used to look? The old way Blaine used to look. Like when he first kind of appeared. Is he in disguise? Because that's how he looked in the anime too. Is it a disguise? I had never understood the weird changes in Blaine's look. Whatever. The old man says, okay, give me your best. The junior trainer says, you asked for it. Here it comes. Oh, and this is Evan. Okay, what's he doing here? Yeah, he's a little bit older too. Evan says, here it comes, and he has Haunter wind up and toss a rock. Yellow thinks, what a fastball. Oh, suddenly Mewtwo appears with its psychic spoon, whacking the rock away. Yellow thinks, what? Evan goes over to Arcanine saying, hey, Arcanine, after I throw, Ember. Evan says now as Haunter tosses rocks, and Arcanine uses Flamethrower. They approach the older man. Yep, that's definitely Blaine. Yellow says, balls of fire, and so many. He can't move sideways on that narrow bridge, and if he loses his balance, he's finished. But the old man in the shadow of Mewtwo managed to deflect all the rocks. Yellow thinks, that again. What is he using to hit them back? It looks like a huge spoon of some kind. A psychic spoon, but it's too far away to tell. The old man recalls his Pokemon saying, he heads across the bridge, telling Evan, thanks, here's a little something as my thanks for today. We'll be counting on you again. Evan says, hey, it was a pleasure. Yellow thinks that voice, that face, I feel like I've seen or heard this person before. The old man turns to Yellow saying, you want to come with me? Yellow takes off with the man, which you should never do as a child, don't go with strangers, as we head to the Cinnabar gym inside the volcano. As Yellow enters, the man says, this is my secret laboratory. It opens off the back of my gym. Welcome to Cinnabar Gym, Yellow. Yellow says, how do you know my name? The man puts on dark shades and a mustache and takes off his hair on the back of his head. As Yellow says, glasses, a fake mustache, and a wig? You're Blaine. So he does have a... Wait, so the hair on the back of his head is fake and the mustache is fake? I know he's... Okay, so even the anime had it right that Blaine's just kind of a wackadoo. The outfits and the changes. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, I'm looking at some concept art. And sure enough, he does kind of just change around his appearance like that. Oh, God. That was always a thing? That is so weird. Freaky. Yellow says, you're Blaine. And she holds the fake hair saying, a disguise? Blaine says, I never knew who might be watching me. Plus, well, I burnt my real mustache during a flame training accident. Yellow stumbles. Blaine then releases Mewtwo back into the little capsule. Turning to the console, he tells Yellow, your timing is perfect. I just happen to have received a message from Brock. But since we may be bugged, we have to keep it short. Blaine here. Brock says, Blaine, around the far side of Mount Moon, I've seen Red. Blaine and Yellow go, what? Blaine asks, what? Is he all right? Oh no, Yellow asks, what, is he all right? Brock says, frankly, I don't know. You see, he was here, but he isn't now. Yellow asks, what happened to him? Brock explains, well, I was exploring the area behind Mount Moon when, and we see Brock going up to a crater in Mount Moon saying, pretty deep pit. And he has this chain of Geodudes, lower him down, which is so cool. That's so practical. Brock says, what in the name of, as he spots a shell molded to red, but it looks like red broke out. Freaky. Brock shows an image of the mold of red. Yellow freaks out saying, in chapter 65, Karate Machop. Yellow calls out, it's red. And Pikachu reacts too. But Blaine says, Yellow, Pika, calm down. Brock, that isn't red, is it? Brock says, good eye, Blaine. It's just a lump of ice cast in the shape of our missing friend. It's hollow inside. The backside's ripped open like a used cocoon. Blaine says, so that's what you meant by was here, but is it now? Wow, that is such a perfect sculpture. Yellow says, Brock, are you saying that Red escaped from the ice cocoon after being frozen by an ice attack? Brock says, how else do you explain it? I've heard of something like this before, 2 years ago. Red was encased in ice during the Silk Company battle. Same kind of attack, I'd say. Blaine says, but there's no way to escape an attack like that on one's own. So there was someone helping. But who and why? Suddenly, the transmission starts to get garbled. As Blaine says, someone's cutting in on the transmission. Oh, it's Misty saying, Blaine, there's trouble. Peter City is being attacked by an army of Pokémon. Blaine says, Misty? Misty tells him, and it's not just Peter either. Cerulean and Celadon, my city, and Erica's are. Suddenly the feed cuts off as Blaine says, Misty, Misty, cut off. Brock, did you hear that? Get off that mountain now. Brock says, count on it. Peter is my city. Let's go, Geodudes. And he takes off with his ring of Geodudes. And back in Peter's city, we see a horde of Machop just wrecking things. I'm gonna wreck it. Full on Wreck-It Ralph style, just tearing it up, literally. Over in Cerulean City, a horde of Haunter are on the attack, as well as some Gengar action. So, more than likely, Bruno is attacking Peter. Agatha is attacking Cerulean, as we see Misty use her Staryu and Starmie with a water attack, but the Gengar use Psychic on her and her Pokemon, backing them into a corner. Misty says no. Over in Celadon, in the gym indoor archery range, Erica's assistant says, Lady Erica, the Ice Army has command of nearly 3/4 of the city. Erica, in an archery outfit, says, we have to keep our head as much as possible. Avoid injury to the enemy's Pokemon. Try to tranquilize them instead of, but suddenly, a whole bunch of Shelder and Cloyster come bursting through the gym floor. The assistant says, Shelder and Cloyster. Erica has her Vileplume attack by launching it out of a Pokeball arrow. That's so wild. I'd say it's silly, but you see that all the time with a lot of Pokemon trainers in the games where they have their Pokeballs attached to the weirdest thing. Erica brandishes another Pokeball arrow saying, think, Celadon, Peter, and Cerulean cities are being attacked respectively by armies of ice, fighting, and ghost-type Pokemon. By the types of Pokemon being used, we can infer that those are the armies of the Elite Four, and their aim must be to render us unable to move from our cities, which means that one of the Elite Four is unaccounted for. Since we are unable to communicate, I can only hope that Blaine and the others have reached the same conclusion. Meanwhile, back on Cinnabar, Blaine says, so the Elite Four have launched their attack at last, which would be a disaster for the perfect opportunity. Yellow questions opportunity. Blaine says, through my investigation, I've pinpointed the location of the Elite Four headquarters. There. Yellow says, an island? Blaine tells her, but not an island on any map. I'm wagering that the Elite Four are expecting me to go to the aid of Misty and the others, but we can go behind their backs and attack the island now. You and me. Yellow says, what? You and me? The two of us? Pikachu chugs at Yellow's shirt, saying, Pika. Yellow says, you heard about Red. What do you want to? Yeah, Pika, I feel the same. Okay, Blaine, we're in. Blaine gives a nod, but suddenly his arm tangles with pain, and he drops to his knee. Yellow says, Blaine, what's wrong? Blaine tells her, it's nothing. I'm giving you the map. Will you head out before me? Yellow says, what? It would be... Blaine says, move to our advantage. To follow different routes, you'll hit land on the opposite side of the island. I'll make some preparations and follow you. Understood? So his arm is still hurting him. Yellow says, I understand. He takes the map and Pikachu uses Surf, with Yellow saying, let's go, Pika. As Yellow takes off, Blaine watches from a crack in the wall. As he turns to the pod with Mewtwo, he says, don't worry. There's no way I wouldn't take you along. This is what all the trading was for, after all. He puts Mewtwo back in its ball, saying, it's time for us to go, brother. We then cut to Cersei Island, where Blaine has arrived. He says, as he sees a figure moving through the water, I thought I told Yellow to come from the other side. But as he makes out the figure, he says, wait a minute, that's not Yellow. Blue! And Blue arrives with his Golduck. He says, so you knew about this island too. Yellow should be arriving on the island soon. We're meeting on the west side, at a stalactite cave along the shore. Blue doesn't respond though. This is great, Blue. With Missy and the others pinned down in the other city, I thought I'd have to fight this battle with just Yellow. But Blue tells him, shh, as he stops him. They see a figure in the cave, Blaine saying, someone's there. Don't tell me this was an ambush. Well, we were going to fight sooner or later. Look out, Elite Four. But a voice calls out, Elite Four, please, Blaine, don't insult us. And as Blaine makes out the figure inside, he says, Electabuzz, Muck? Alakazam? It can't be. Oh. The figures call out, ha ha ha. Oh, yes, it can. As Blaine and Blue make out Lieutenant Surge, Sabrina, and Koga. As Blaine calls out, Team Rocket. But if they're here, are they helping or did they ally with Lance? Oh, to be continued in the next volume. Alright, as of now, Yellow has only caught 9 Pokemon and met 51. Which, that's more her speed, all things considered. The most powerful in her ranks is still Pikachu, and her other Pokemon are still at very low levels. Like, dang. It's only the gym leader Pokemon that she have that are in the 30s, and Pikachu's in the 50s. But it makes sense. She doesn't really train her Pokemon hard unless need be. She doesn't look for battles or anything like that, which that's one of those things that I found out the hard way when I first played a Pokemon game, because it was my first real RPG game. And that was that, you have to fight every battle to grow as strong as possible. If you don't, it's game over, man. Game over. But man, Lance is a bit of a menacing figure, I will admit. And I was kind of wondering, he said allied trainers. Is it the remaining members of the gym leaders of Team Rocket? That is kind of a bummer. I was hoping maybe Sabrina, Koga, and Surge would help out, but maybe they're enemies. And where is Green in all of this? I thought for a second that Blue was maybe a fake, but maybe not. It's really hard to say. I don't think we're nearing the end just yet. It feels like the beginning of the end. The Elite Four have set their plan into motion. Now, there's always the elitists who feel like, no, we are the supreme, we are the best, we are the betters. All should fall to our command. If you're not the elite, you're nothing. Just, you always gotta watch out for that mentality. But considering the role, especially Lance plays in later moments of Pokemon lore, he can't remain a villain. But how do you walk back a lot of what he does? Maybe he tries to make amends? And with this, I also wonder, what role do other members of Elite Four in other regions play? Yeah, that raises a lot of questions. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Also remember to like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I hope to see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.